Music producers, Curtis King, CurtisKingTV.com, and I want to talk about a discussion I recently had within my Curtis King TV private community. This was a question that had to do with how do I rebrand myself when I got to change everything? Somebody already got my name and I got to change everything. How do I even rebrand or even brand to begin with? Let's talk about it. Music producers, how do you brand? What does it mean to actually brand yourself? Think about when we've heard the term branding and we think about how, I guess, farmers used to do cattle when they used to have like these hot irons that they put on top of the cattle when they would literally brand them with a particular name or brand them with whatever company was associated to branding the damn meat to begin with. But aside from that terrible analogy example, branding is literally, another word for that is reputation. It's your reputation. It's your colorways, it's your logo, but it's a lot deeper than just what people visually see. It's more than just your clothes, it's more than your appearance, it's more than the way you talk or the way you cuss or don't curse. It's way more than that. Those are just extensions upon a deeper conversation and a deeper dive that all of you must have. The problem with branding in hip hop, let's talk about what the problem is. The problem is that most of us in hip hop, we go the opposite direction that you're supposed to go when it comes to branding. Now, I'm not gonna say it's the wrong way because I'm sure that ideas have come in the same way that it comes to us in hip hop, but we need to recognize that this is not going to be a high success rate if we go this route. That route is, damn, I came up with a dope name for a rap name or a dope name for a producer name. Man, I'm gonna call myself like Belizy Beats. Right? Because like it's kind of like a bleezy, but like my name is like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of like a beat, but no, we go with that and then we got to make that make sense to everybody else in the rest of the world. And that is why so many producers deal with branding problems. They're going the complete opposite direction of where you should go. A brand starts from within. It starts like this. I'll give you an example of how I see brand building. Brand building goes like this. It starts very humbly inside of a room, a very small room with just you in the complete dark. And you're trying to think of an idea. You're trying to think of a source of something you can stand on for the rest of your life, or at least for the next 20 years. Something that you feel like is very powerful to your soul. Something that you will emotionally stand behind. For me, I was inside that dark room. And it was me literally going through that dark room my whole entire career until I figured out certain things that brought light to certain corners of the room. In the very beginning of my career, you guys know, in the very beginning of my career, or towards the middle, I should say, I had this branding where I associated myself with a comedian called Sinbad. So I walked around looking like Sinbad because I'm light skinned, I got a flat top, I had a little blonde spot, and also I was wearing these 90s clothes because my music was nostalgic. And I was like, oh, nostalgia? Who's throwback? Oh, Sinbad is nostalgia, that's throwback. Put them together, I was Baby Sinbad for a little bit. People were like, Baby Sinbad! And that became my branding. But that didn't start from me saying, I'm going to look like Sinbad, and I'm going to. No, that came from me being inside that dark room looking for a light. The light bulb moment happened when a friend of mine jumped on the phone with me and said, you know, Curtis, what I like about your music, it's just very nostalgic. And I was like, nostalgic? That's like a yearning for the past. It's almost like, I don't know how many of you have this experience where you're watching like a TV theme on YouTube that you haven't seen since your childhood and it starts making you feel all bubbly and warm inside. That's what I was feeling as I was starting to understand this idea. Nostalgia, that's nostalgia. My music does have like a lot of nostalgia. I make a lot of references to 90s TV shows and 90s characters. Yes, that's it. And that light inside of that dark room starts to get a little bit brighter as I start to piece together what makes sense. Okay, well, if I'm nostalgic and I'm in the 90s, how would I look? Well, I'd probably have a flat top. Enter the flat top with the blonde on top of it. Then I said, okay, well, what would I wear? I went to the thrift shop. I couldn't afford any other clothes at the time, so I went to the thrift shop and I got a bunch of ugly shirts that nobody else wanted to get that were from the 90s. So I started to rock that, and I was like, well, how would my music sound? It already sounded nostalgic, so I didn't have to worry about that. Then the next step was, okay, well, I look it, I got the hair, I got, everything else is starting to make sense. What does my logo look like? Then enters the logo that I showed you guys some time ago that had the flat top with the red pick. The red pick came from me just wearing it in my hair during the shows because I just didn't like losing my comb and I just put it in my hair. I thought I looked cool. But that's the point, is that it happened internally. And so what happens in that dark room, if we're going to use that example again, you're in that dark room and it starts to pretty much cloud up or not even cloud up. It starts to, it starts to brighten up with more light as you start to piece together this brand. And that light becomes so big inside that room that it starts shining outside of the door. And all of a sudden that door opens and it starts to go out. That's when your brand becomes larger than life. But that is the goal. It has to start internally. So many of you are coming up with the producer name because you think it sounds cool, but it has no meaning to you, and you're trying to reverse engineer it into a brand. That's not how brands work. You have to figure out somewhat of a mission statement, something that you stand on. You think about the most successful independent artists like a Tech Nine, or the most successful independent music producers. They all have sort of a pillar to what makes them successful. There's always that one thing. Maybe it's their contributions as a pioneer on SoundCloud. Maybe it's their contributions to saying, I don't want to mess with the industry. Maybe it's their contributions to a YouTube, like myself. But it has to start. Damn. It'd be a shame if you had to miss all this great content, huh? You finna miss out because you don't got $20? This is information straight from Curtis King. And you get to talk to him and a bunch of folks in the community? Man, come join us at CurtisKingTV.com, where it's uncensored, uncut, and we're taking back ownership. It's only getting better. But it has to start with a thought inside. My thought inside when I started was, I'm a man of value. I'm a valuable man. Because of all the information I have, I'm a man of value. But see how that term could mean anything to anybody? Think about brands that have terms like that out there in the world. McDonald's, we love to see you smile. What the hell does that mean, right? I'm loving it. I'm loving it. What you loving? I don't know. But that means something for every single person on the outside. But that tagline, that branding, all makes sense once you understand what your core values are. Once you understand what you actually stand for. When you make it known what you stand for, when you make it known what your general principles are, everything else becomes easy. Because if I say, okay, so if I'm Bleezy the producer, I'm Bleezy the producer because, I don't know, because I think production is just so easy and I got this nonchalant behavior about it, and I feel like people complicate music and I feel like music shouldn't be complicated, so I'm just Bleezy. And that's what I stand for, right? And so if you take that branding, you need colors that associate with that. Well, we know from my videos that you have a color psychology chart. You take that and you say, okay, what colors really represent sort of a laid backness or kind of a coolness? Maybe like a dark blue, maybe like even like a brownish color. That kind of represent that. Now you know what colors to even put within your logo. What kind of a logo are we talking about? Well, something that's kind of like laid back and really easy. I can see something like a cigar with a cloud of smoke coming out of it, right? And then the smoke turns into music notes, or it turns into headphones. That to me will be a fire logo. That's just off the top of the head, but that's what I'm saying. When you know a purpose first that you're starting with, branding becomes fun. It becomes easy. So for those of you that are in a position where you're like, I gotta rebrand, I gotta figure it out, I'll tell you where the issue happened. The issue happened because you came up with a name before you actually knew what the hell that name stood for. Or maybe it did stand for something, but you're not passionate about what it stands for. You gotta figure out something that not only you stand on today, because some of you are like 19, 27, whatever, you're younger. It doesn't have to stand the test of time just today. It has to stand the test of time in 20 years. Can you put your logo at a corporate event? Because you're going to be invited if you plan on being successful, especially as a producer. You're going to be invited to a couple of label and corporate events. Can you be brought to the barbecue? Can you be brought to the cookout? Are they gonna bring you to the cookout? Are you gonna be an embarrassment at the cookout, right? Because your branding is all off? Because nobody can relate exactly to what you're getting at? This is what I'm saying. In order to have that longevity, it is very important that you figure out what are the core elements. What's going on inside this dark room that I'm in right now? The dark room represents what is my branding at this point in time. You don't know. That's why it's a dark room. But that glimmer of light, that glimmer of hope, you know where that comes from? That comes from when you recognize what you actually stand for and what you stand passionately for. To the point where you would stand for that even if you weren't getting paid, even if you weren't getting attention, you would stand on top of that. Whatever that is for you, for me, it's giving value. I believe in giving value. I've been doing it for the last, I don't know how many years, and I continue to give value. I love to piece together people's lives. I love to piece together the problems that they have with their music career. I love that moment that they're like, damn, that was a gem. You just planted a seed and you just opened it up. That spikes my dopamine off. What is that for you. Do you have that? If you don't have that, sit inside that dark room and stop trying to make other names go for a walk. You're trying to look for a flicker from a name that doesn't mean anything to you or your personal life. What do you stand for? What are you passionate about? Where's your heart at? That's the foundation of rebranding. Once again, my name is Curtis King of CurtisKingTV.com. I have a community, a private community there for music producers and rappers to connect with one another, as well as be educated about all this information that I give you. But we do deep dives and we have personal conversations within our private Discord on a regular basis. I think it's something that you'd really enjoy if you enjoyed today's conversation. In this life, you will not be full of life until you decide to live life to its fullest. Once again, it's Curtis King, the leading voice of the rapper and online music producer community. Boy, don't at me. Peace.
How you doing, everybody? This is Mikey from Taking Back Music. I want to talk to y'all about CurtisKingTV.com. It is awesome. So much positivity, so much energy, people supporting one another. It's ridiculous. And that's not even the courses. I'm talking about just the Discord. It is on point with people helping each other out. Join us. It's so much fun. You're missing out.
Look up, Nazi. Say cheese.